Okay, so what you want to do when you're doing these canvases is first you take the art projects and you just play around with how you want them laid out on the canvas. You could orient the canvas this direction, you could orient it this direction, and you simply play around with how you want it laid out on the canvas. Now when you're laying it out on the canvas, you notice that none of my pictures are, I don't have all my dark ones grouped together and all my light ones grouped together. I have them scattered. So all these ones with the white space, they're spaced out between all the dark colored ones. And I've already laid them out on the canvas. This is how I've decided I want this arranged. And then what I did was I took all these pieces and I literally just slid them off to the side. So they're still in the same arrangement that I had them on the canvas, and this is the direction I'm gonna run the canvas. And now what I wanna do is I want to use some Mod Podge. You can see it's right here. I just poured some on a plate and I've got a foam brush. And Mod Podge, you can see it looks like Elmer's glue here in the middle of the page, the middle of the plate, and it dries clear. But what you want to do is you want to take the brush and you're going to put a thin layer on the canvas so that these will stick. Now, a couple of things is, first, you only want to do small sections at a time because the Mod Podge will dry. So I'm only going to do a small strip at a time, and then I'll place the pictures on there. The other thing is that these pictures are drawn on very, very thin, it's a waxy tissue paper like you get donuts with or deli meat with. And so you want to make sure that you place it very carefully, because if you have to slide around, they might tear or that kind of thing. So once you've got it laid out and arranged, I'm just going to take some of the Mod Podge and I'm going to do small sections at a time. Okay, so there's a small section right now, and I'm going to just, well, I'll have to lay these out as I go through this again. I bumped my plate obviously, but this was my upper right picture, and I'm going to place it very carefully and smooth it out. Make sure it's all laying down on the Mod Podge. Take the picture next to it. And then the next one. Okay, and then I'll need to add more Mod Podge to finish this first row. Okay, and then I can take the rest of my top row. And if you know, okay, I'm sorry, the camera began to shift while I was still finishing up that first row. So I just want to make sure you know that You want to do another little section of Mod Podge and then finish the first row. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause it again. And I'm going to take my Mod Podge and I'm going to do the same thing with my other rows. I've got my orientation laid back out because I had bumped into it. And I'm going to do another little section of Mod Podge, put the pictures down, another little section of Mod Podge, put the pictures down. And then once I've got them on here, then I'll come back and tell you what the next stage would be. Okay? Okay, so I'm back. And what I did was I finished putting the first thin layer of Mod Podge. I did, you know, a 3-section here, put the pictures on, then I did 2, put the pictures on, and I went row by row. And I've got them all on. And I want you to notice that when you get to the bottom, if you are out of space on any of the edges, you can do what I did, which is I actually folded over mine, because I just barely did, and it was all solid colors. There was nothing actually part of the picture that I was folding over. If you have a picture that has a lot of a solid color somewhere, you know, a little bit of green here, a little bit of green here, you might need to just shave it ever so slightly to get it to fit. But then once you've got all of these on with that thin layer of Mod Podge under them, you just want to go through, make sure all the corners are laying flat, make sure that the spacing is right, things like that, and then leave it to dry. Okay, now some people only leave it to dry for just a little while, and then you just need to be really careful because you're going to Mod Podge over the top again. I'm going to actually leave mine to dry overnight. Okay, and then what I would do is I would come back when it's completely dry, and I'm going to take a piece of scrapbook paper, which we have in the PTA workroom, and I'm going to measure this area here and cut it to fit. And I'm going to choose a color, or maybe even 2 colors, that really brings out the colors in the pictures. So I'll probably choose a darker blue and maybe an accent of red somewhere, maybe, you know, red and red with blue in the middle. And I'll Mod Podge that down on there. And then I will take a computer printout that just says Mrs. Bolton's 4th grade class, Canyon Ridge Elementary School, 2017-2018. And I'll put that on top of the scrapbook paper. And then if you want to, you can buy stickers or ribbon, anything that you need to, especially if you have a lot of white space. I don't have much space on mine because my class was relatively large, but anything you want to do to accent it. So what I usually do is, you know, find little stickers to put here at the corners where the pictures meet, things like that. You might put ribbon around the scrapbook paper here, however you want to accentuate. And if you don't want to, that's fine as well. It's entirely up to you. And you'll put the scrapbook paper, the class information, any accents that you want on your canvas, and then you will do another thin layer of Mod Podge over the top of it all. And it will protect the wax paper drawings, and it will also secure all of the additional stuff you're going to add to it. So for right now, I'm done. I'm going to leave it to dry. And then if you want to, I can show you the video where I do the final product probably tomorrow. Thanks. Okay, so here I am, day 2. Let me get the camera steady. Okay, and so this is all dry. All the projects are down. And what I did was I measured this area, and I went and cut some blue paper, and I wanted a little bit of a red on there as well because of all the reds that were in some of these pictures, just to accent it. So I just put a little strip of red paper here, and I just used Elmer's glue just to glue the paper together. And then you can see I printed out my son's, his teacher, his grade, the class year, and I went ahead and put the school. And I've glued it all together, so it's ready to go onto the canvas. And this paper is thick enough that when I Mod Podge underneath to get it to stick, I really won't need to leave time for it to dry, because I'm just going to start at the top and I'm going to do my top coat. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just use my Mod Podge. I have a new plate and a new clean foam brush. I just washed mine out last night, and Just gonna put my Mod Podge down so that I can get the class information on there. And this canvas has enough color on it that I got some opinions from, you know, family members and stuff, and they don't think I need to accent it with anything else, so I probably won't do any stickers this year or anything, but you can feel free to do that. Add whatever you want to accent it. Okay, so I've got the Mod Podge down, and I'm going to place the class's info. Okay. Okay, and I can't feel the Mod Podge through this paper because it's a lot thicker than the wax paper. But I am going to go ahead, and when I do my top coat of Mod Podge, I'm going to start from the top, just because I know that's all dry, and this will give it just a few minutes for this to secure down to the canvas. Otherwise, you can always just hold it down while you Mod Podge over. And then I'm just going to leave it. It'll be done and it'll dry, and the top coat of Mod Podge will protect it all. Okay, so not that I have to record and you guys don't have to watch me do the whole top coat, but I'm just going to go over the pictures, and it looks like it's blurring the pictures out, but remember, Mod Podge dries clear, so it dries and it's going to make them look glossy, but it's not going to hide the pictures. Okay, so I'm just going over the whole canvas with a final layer, and it will protect it all and secure it all down there and give it a glossy finish. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording because you really don't need to watch me do the whole top coat of the canvas. You get the idea now. And then once it's dry, you can take it up to the school, or if you're doing all this work at school, then you can just set it up on one of the shelves along the wall so that it doesn't get disturbed or bumped or anything like that, and we'll leave it there to dry. Okay, so good luck. Just email me or text me if you guys have questions, and let us know what we can do to help you guys. Thanks. Bye.